I wanted to do a quick little demo of Dragonslater. Dragonslater is essentially a transcoder for video files, and mainly it's meant for production houses that a lot of times when you're doing distribution of spots to different stations, you need to prepend metadata information in something called a slate. And this kind of helps to automate that process. So let's get started here by running the program. So it fires up this native application, and you can start adding spots that you want to transcode. So I have a couple here set up that I'm going to be using for the demo. So I'll click Add Spot, and I'll add 2 here. So we'll go ahead and link these 2 spots that I have ready to go. One is a commercial for Instant Pot, so we'll go ahead and open that. And the second is a commercial for New Era. Open that. So those spots are linked. Typically in television broadcast, you're going to have an ISKI code when you're distributing these spots to different stations. That's how they can identify the spot, make sure that they're running the right one. So we're just going to put in kind of dummy data for this. So for the Instant Pot, we'll just say instant 1, 2, 3. For the title, we'll just put Instant Pot. Advertiser, we're going to call it Kale. Client, Instant Pot. We'll get to the station list here in a second, but we'll fill in the information now for that New Era spot. So we'll follow the same kind of format. New Era 1, 2, 3 as the ISKI code. Title, New Era. I guess I could be a little bit more descriptive with the titles. If this was a real scenario, I would be. Okay. So this is the part where really most of the automation comes in. And it's kind of what I made this program to solve, the issue of, station A is going to have slightly different requirements than station B, whether that's the codec or the container or how long the slate is up for in the beginning of the video. So this allows you to just basically set up the information once and then make a bunch of different files. So I'm just going to go ahead over to my other screen here to give you an example of what the station metadata looks like. So I have 3 stations here, Comcast, WGRZ, and WKBW, which the latter 2 are local Buffalo, New York stations, and this is their actual specs. So I picked them because, you have WGRZ who has the pretty standard 1920 by 1080 resolution, then you have WKBW with the 1280 by 720. I did tweak the WKBW slate specs a little bit. They were the same as WGRZ, but for demonstration purposes, I wanted to have different length slates to kind of demonstrate. So, essentially what I would do with this program is, I had a list of like 50 or 60 stations at my old job that I would have to distribute to. So I had all of those different stations in here, and you have the length of their slate, how long there might be running black before the slate, how much black there might be after the slate, frames per second, resolution, the format, the fields, whether it's progressive or interlaced. And essentially, I'm using a template system. So these are all happen to be MPEG-2. These are the 1080 to 2997 frames per second. So this all pulls actually from this export presets file where I build these templates, which essentially get a little bit more granular into things like bit rate and kind of hitting that level of quality that the stations had as a requirement to pass their QA process. So basically everything is taken from here. I also have, I'll show why later in this demo, delivery, username, password, and reps. This is helpful information for the distribution stage once you get past transcoding. So we'll come back here, and we're going to enter in those stations. And essentially what's going to happen is those renders. Oh, I have an old one in here. Let me get rid of that. Those renders are going to pop out into this renders folder. So let's do WGRZ, WKBW for the instant pot spot, and then for the new era spot, let's do Comcast and WGRZ. And there's last field CC. A lot of times stations, if they're going to be accepting a closed caption spot, they need that information in the metadata of the slate. So I just made it kind of a Boolean checkbox here. If it's closed captioned, you'll tick this box and that'll be included. So we'll throw that on the instant pot spot here and we'll render it. So I'll just go ahead and fast forward for the rendering here. Okay, so our renders are finished here. So you see we have the one spot for Comcast, the two spots for WGRZ, and the one spot for WKBW. I will go ahead and open up the raw video folder, which is where I got these videos from, just to show the difference. So the instant pot spot is just a 30-second spot. This is the original. Same with the new era spot. And you are seeing the effects of my old computer here. Struggling to play these big ProRes files. But that's just to show that there's no slate prepended on those. So if we go ahead and look at WGRZ first, we'll open this instant pot spot. And you will see that this slate is now here with all that metadata that we had entered in, including that closed captioned. So I'm going to scrub back just a little bit here. And I would be remiss if I didn't give credit to Zach Zika, who is the creator of this animation on the slate, which looks awesome. So once again, the slate configuration is taken from this data over here. So it's a 7-second slate. There's 1 second of black before the slate and then 2 seconds of black at the end of the video. So we'll go ahead and just scrub it back to the beginning once more. And I'll just go ahead and jump ahead a little bit in this video so we don't have to watch the entirety of the ad. But we can see that transcoded pretty nicely and ends with those 2 seconds of black. So we'll jump back over to here. We just watched the instant pot on WGRZ, so let's check out a WKBW spot next. One thing you'll notice in the metadata of this instant pot spot is that it's 1920 by 1080, which is one of the configurations that was in that data. You can see the duration now has that extra 10 seconds to account for that other configuration. WKBW, on the other hand, if you remember, was 1280 by 720. And the settings for this were 5 seconds of slate, 0 seconds of black before the slate, 2 seconds of black at the end of the video. So we'll go ahead and open this. You can see that lower resolution here, quicker slate, and dives right in. I will do the same thing and skip ahead. And then you'll see the 2 seconds of black coming in at the end here. And last but not least, I'll just jump over to the Comcast spot, which, if you had a moment to take note before, this is a slateless file. So 0 seconds of slate, 0 pre-slate, 0 post-video black, just a good old transcode. And that's about it, changing it from an MOV to an MPEG-2. And you see the quality is good there. It's that 1920 by 1080 MPEG video. We don't need to watch the whole thing here. It's just a demo. And just for posterity, I will go back to WGRZ and open the new era spot that I made for that. So same thing with that WGRZ specs, but of course with the different metadata on the slate, and then right into the spot. So that is the main functionality of Dragonslater. Obviously, this becomes exponentially more convenient the more spots you have. You can add really as much as you want. You can have quite an extensive station list here, and it's really pretty convenient when it comes to distribution and creation of files for broadcast media for video. So the last kind of little extra perk in here that really I'll just touch on, but it's not anywhere close to kind of the complexity of the program itself. I made a distribution list HTML file, so anytime a render happens, this just gets rewritten, and you just simply open it up in your browser, and it's an easy way to kind of alert stations that you've uploaded spots. So it also will show you the specs in a easy to see manner, so you don't have to just keep looking at that data file that I have, the Python file. And it's got the names of the spots, the ISKIs at least. It's got the method of delivery. You would enter that into a file that I have in the program. And checkboxes as you go through, so you can keep track of who you've sent confirmation emails to. If you noticed back in this file, there was a list for reps, and essentially that's where this part is used. You click the email reps button, it'll set this automated email up for you that you can take one last look at to review it, and then send it off to confirm that the spots were indeed uploaded. So that's it. That's Dragonslater in action. Right now, it's still a private repository, which is why I made this video. Still kind of deciding what path I want to take with it, whether I want to make it open source or whether I want to kind of keep fleshing out the features of it to make it more robust. But for now, this is a good demo to kind of show what it can do. Thanks.